Melting ice caps.
Melting ice caps.
Rising sea levels.
Rising sea levels.
So we actually did a fair bit of research. We looked at what some of the other groups had done, because this has been done in a few other locations around the world. And also we kind of looked at how costume blood is made, particularly on a mass scale. You can buy certain amounts of small scale kind of costume blood for Halloween and stuff, but we need a lot of it. So we sort of realised we would have to make it ourselves. So some of the things we looked at were different thickening agents. Obviously we want it to be biodegradable, nothing that's going to be kind of toxic or nasty on people. So the recipe we settled on was one that we just found online, which is mostly sugar syrup and soap and food colouring. So it's all things that will break down naturally and won't stain the ground. And we actually ran tests beforehand to make sure that it wouldn't stain concrete, it wouldn't stain stone, it would all wash away. So we were pretty confident that it would work. The white suits, the innocents, is kind of a representation of our children, of the kind of chaos and pandemonium that we're wreaking on them by not acting now. The suits sort of represent businesses and governments who are failing, to take the action, and by their failure, and particularly for the bill today that's in the Dáil and not keeping oil in the ground, how we're failing that future generation. And basically, the pouring blood over them is a metaphor for that failure. As a greenwasher, my role was to clean up after the suits. The governments like to pretend that they're taking action, pretend that they are, achieving great things, and we haven't quite met our targets, but we will in the future, but without any actual action. And you can see it today. The fact that this bill has been blocked by Fine Gael is really it's telling that they talk big on climate action, but then aren't willing to take the steps. A lot of the changes that we can make on an individual level, beyond stopping flying, beyond moving towards eating less meat, not owning a car, those kind of things. The rest of the stuff is actually has very small scale impact, and really the big changes that we need to make are on a governmental level, on a societal level. We need our governments to take this issue seriously. We need them to start taking climate action immediately. We have a ticking clock. There's a 10-year timeline. By 2030, we need to have made drastic changes to how we power our society effectively. And if we don't start making those moves soon, we're going to miss that deadline. And if we miss that deadline, there's no going back. There's no way to undo the damage past 2030. That's what the IPCC is telling us. So it's really important that people act now.
When our planet is under attack, we stand up and we fight back.